Hey there, YouTubers. This is Luis from On-Site Towing in Middletown, New York. So, in this video, I wanted to talk a little bit about work and load limits. Work and load limits are pretty much the safety rating for any piece of equipment that you're using where you're putting a load on, lifting, pulling, etc. Everything has a work and load limit. And work and load limits are very important, especially if you're doing recovery work. You should know the work and load limits of everything on your truck. From the tires that are on the truck, to the GVWR on the truck, down to the hook on your wire rope. These are things that you should know, and you should understand what they're there for. Work and load limits are very important because if you know what you're up against and what your equipment's capable of, you're going to be successful. You're not going to get hurt, and you're not going to be abusing your equipment. A lot of tow operators know how to use the equipment, they know how to push those levers, but they don't know what the ratings are. And it's really not an excuse on not knowing what ratings are for our equipment, because there's tags everywhere. Everything has a tag. Your wire rope has a tag on it when you buy it brand new. The slings that you use have tags on them. You got a tag in the door jamb of your truck stating the GVWR. And it just annoys me, especially in the wintertime when we're doing recoveries. I just see other tow companies out there just doing some stupid stuff, and and a lot of guys just don't know any better. So I'm hoping that those guys that don't know any better can benefit from using this video. We're in a very dangerous industry, especially when we're winching. There's so much that can happen, and I am a very big advocate for safety. Safety is a big deal for me, and if you get hurt, obviously you're not going to be able to bring in income for your family. It's going to affect your employer, because he's going to be down a driver, insurance claims, and so on and so forth. So we should really educate ourselves a little bit more just to be on the safer side. So in this video, I'm going to go and I'm going to show you, what certain tags mean, and I'm going to end up eventually following up on this video on, doing some winching and whatnot, and calculating resistance values and stuff like that. Believe it or not, this industry isn't really about just hooking up and pulling. There's a lot of physics involved, and if you know basic physics and basic resistance values, you're really going to prosper in this industry. So I hope this video benefits somebody out there, and someone learns something from this, and hopefully you'll be safe and start using safer practices when you're out there working. All right. Okay, so the truck that I'm going to use today is our 2002 four-wheel drive F550. This is our winter truck. It doesn't really get used much this time of year for winching or anything like that. So she sits quite a bit. So we're gonna use this as an example, and we're gonna start off on the tires. So these tires have a working load limit, and if you actually see right there, 3640 for a single tire is the working load limit, and if you're running the duals on the back, it's 3415. So like I said before, this stuff is everywhere. There's no reason to really not know what your working load limits are. And another thing too is, if you're winching and you don't really know what you're up against in terms of weight, if you actually grab the working load limits off of the tires and you multiply it by as many tires are on that particular vehicle, you will be able to get a gross vehicle rate weighting. It's going to be high and you're going to over rig, but you'll be within your safe work and load limits. And one thing I always say, it's better to over rig than to under rig. Another thing too is you really need to understand the GVWR of your truck. On this particular Ford, it's 17.5 right there. I don't know if you guys can see that, but 17.5 is the gross vehicle weight rating. So what that means is you figure out the weight of your truck. This truck is about 11.5, and you subtract it from that GVWR rating, and that is legally what this truck can carry, and that's the work and load limit for the truck itself. All right, so now we're going to come on to the business end of the truck. This is an 8-ton Vulcan bed, and it's got dual winches. And as you can see right there on that tag, it's got the underlift rating, which is rated at 4,000 pounds, and it's got the boom rating, which is 16,000 pounds because it's an 8-ton body. But you could also see there that when the boom's extended, I believe that says 6,000 pounds there. So when you got this boom fully extended, you're not going to get the full capability of the bed, you know, obviously because it's extended. There's a lot more leverage on the boom itself. So our wire rope, and these were replaced probably 6 to 8 months ago. They really haven't gotten that much use. But if you look here on your wire rope, it's got ratings. Now this wire rope here is it's a fiber core wire rope, and as you can see, the work and load limit is 3,760 pounds. Very important that you know this. You know, that's, believe it or not, that's not a lot, especially if you've got something that's stuck in mud like a pickup truck, a 1-ton pickup truck, and you're running a single line. That's where you were running the issues if you didn't know what that rating was. But you can see there, it's on the hook. So another thing to take into consideration too is that if this cable is splintered or kinked in any way, it actually takes away from the work and load limit. So always check your equipment. These ratings are only on equipment that's in good condition. So if you've got a tear or something, it's not going to have the same work and load limit that it would on the tag. So over here we just got some equipment that I keep in the truck. We got a 4-ton snatch block here with a 4.5-inch sheave, and you know, so this is rated for 4 tons. So here we got our most commonly used sling, and this has got 3 different ratings. It's got a 5,300 pound for a vertical sling, 4,200 pounds for a choker, and 10,600 pounds for a basket. Those are very, very important, and any of these straps, you know, it doesn't have to be a continuous loop like this. It can be one like this, has the same thing. And I see a lot of times a guy will go to the choker just because it's easier, and you know, but they're exceeding them, especially if you got something stuck in mud. Everything's got work and load limits. Like for instance, this wheel lift strap here. Let's see what it says. The tag says 3,300 pounds, 3,330 pounds. You know, like I said, obviously, if it's got a tear, for instance, this strap here, which we're retiring, has got a tear in it. That tear takes away from the full work and load limit of that strap. So this strap, let's take a look at the tag. In a choker is 6,700 pounds. Well, with that cut in that strap, it's nowhere near that. This strap actually needs to be taken out of commission. I only keep this thing around, you know, if we got to pull something across the yard, drag it out. A lot of these straps too, once you start seeing these red strands, I don't know if you guys can see that, that's a good indication that that strap is done. I hope that this video gives you somewhat of an idea of what working load limits are and how you should know this stuff. You know, even, and this is just a record, but the same thing with a flatbed. You should also know what the load rating of your beds are, especially if you're using it, you know, if you're hauling equipment, if you're using it to winch off the end of it. You know, these are all things to keep you safe. All right, so if anybody's got any questions, feel free to reach out to me. Please subscribe, slow down, move over. And once again, this is Luis from On-Site Towing. Thank you.